Hello and welcome to the Employee to CEO podcast. I am your host, Monique Nicole, and I'm so excited that you're here. Today, we're going to jump in and talk about this question that I believe is so essential to becoming the person who you were meant to be and also stepping into entrepreneurship the right way and in a way that really helps you to flourish and thrive in whatever it is you decide to do. And so we're going to unpack some of the steps in really helping you understand and identify what do you want, right? It's this question that I believe that a lot of people go through life and they never ask themselves. They never ask themselves, what do I want? And I feel like it's the caterpillar to really um going through the process of working towards whatever it is that you want in your life and also creating the life that you want. And so we're going to pull back some of those layers on how to really get clear on self discovery, what is that you want and who you essentially want to become. So let's jump right in. And the first thing I want to share with you is this first step, which really is all about understanding the importance of self discovery. And like I mentioned, most people go through life never asking themselves or even just thinking about what it is that they want, and this is a exercise that I remember doing when I got to that point where I was working, in marketing and advertising. I had pretty much worked for every advertising agency in New York City. And, I got to a point where I was like, okay, I've done a lot, I've climbed the corporate ladder, but it wasn't enough. I wanted more. I wanted to do something that I felt was meaningful for me. And I remember going on this quest of like just asking myself and trying to discover what it is that I wanted for my life. And while I had a great run, I believe, in working in marketing and advertising, I knew I wanted to do something different. I just didn't know what that looked like. And so you may be listening or watching this podcast and you may be in that same situation where you're working your job and it's paying the bills and at that time I was making six figures. So I wasn't financially in need for anything, but my soul was, right? And you may be also in that place where you're like, I know there's more. I know there's more for you to do, for me to do. And so I was at that crossroads and I said, okay, I need to figure this out. And so my way of doing that was I actually took a week vacation by myself. I went to the Dominican Republic. I literally like went on Groupon, I think, at the time and booked a trip. It was an all-inclusive trip at a resort. And I got on the plane and I went on vacation. And the sole purpose of that vacation for me was to discover what I wanted for my life. And so, I went on vacation. It might not look like that for you. You may take a, weekend trip or you may just take a few hours out of a day or take the day off and stay home or go to the park and really think through what it is that you want. And I asked myself those hard questions on my vacation. And I remember like sipping a pina colada, in a cabana right on the beach. And I had my journal and I was asking myself and I was writing down the answers. And one of the things that I want to encourage you to do, especially during this step, is to dream big. Like, don't hinder yourself. Don't, you know, say, "Oh, this is not possible." I want you to really think limitlessly and just write down what are the answers? What do I want? Where do I want to live? Who do I want to become? Um, you know, what type of lifestyle do you want? What are the things that are important to you? All of these things matter because it really is going to help you to create the life that you want, which I believe we all deserve the opportunity to do. So, the first step is just understanding how important this is, because this is honestly the only way I believe that anyone can find true fulfillment. Because if you don't know what you want, you don't know what to go after, right? You don't know what to try and achieve. You don't know the steps to get to where you want to be, right? It all starts with getting clear on what you want. All right. So, first step is just understanding the importance of self-discovery and really asking yourself those questions. Now, the second step is all about exploring your passions and your interest. So, this is one that I can remember like it was yesterday. I was working in advertising, and as I mentioned, I had a six-figure job. I was making really great money. I was single. I didn't have any children. I wasn't married at the time, and so really, I was just responsible for myself. And I remember saying to myself, because I was getting beat up in taxes. Now, let me just kind of give you some context and paint this picture. I was a single woman, no children, not married, living at the time, I was living in Jersey City, and I'm making well over almost close to seven figures, well over six figures. And I had no tax write-offs. So you can imagine how much money they were taking out in taxes. And I was like so fed up. I was like, I've got to do something. And so I was talking to a friend of mine at the time. She was a real estate agent. And she was like, why don't you buy a house? And so, I had never thought about that. And I really liked the idea. She was like, it could be a great tax write off for you. And then eventually maybe you can rent it out if you wanted to do that, which I actually ended up doing. And so I purchased this condo. It was a one-bedroom condo. I used to call it my penthouse because it was on the top floor of a beautiful building downtown Newark, right next to the Prudential Center. So it was like I was in smack in the middle of everything. And I purchased this home, but let me just tell you, it had no frills. Okay, like don't get it twisted. It was in a nice area and, downtown in the city, but, it was just bare walls when I bought it, right? Very basic, but it was a well-kept, unit, and so I purchased it, for a little under $200,000, so it wasn't that expensive. And, I loved it. Like, I loved living the city life. I had a doorman, they parked my car. Like, it was really, really nice. But I wanted to make it my own. And so I went on this journey of decorating it. And I would call friends, of mine who I knew were handymen. And there was some guys in my building, some of the supers, that pitched in, and I asked around like, "Hey, do you know anyone who can, remodel my bathroom and things like that?" And I just started doing research. I was going into, um, you know, Home Depot and some of these stores and researching how much it would cost to maybe, gut my kitchen and replace my cabinets. Then I realized that was going to be too expensive and that the wood in my cabinets were actually really great, the foundation. And so I ended up refacing them and they came out beautiful. I ended up closing the wall down and it was like a dining room and it had like a peekaboo window into the kitchen. So I closed that off and I turned it into an office. And when I tell you, not to toot my own horn, but by the time I was done, I literally had transformed that unit, my house. I literally had transformed it. I mean, it looked like a different place. And I remember having my housewarming and I did it big. I did the ribbon cutting and all that stuff because it was a big accomplishment for me. And I had family and friends fly in. It was a really great time. And I remember one of my girlfriends stopping me and asking me, and it was almost like she didn't want everyone else to hear, but she stopped me and she pulled me aside and she said, "Who did you hire to decorate your home?" And that is when the light bulb went off for me that I had a gift in this. And I said to her, "No one." I was like, "Just me." I just did a little bit over time. Home Goods became one of my best friends and best places to go, favorite places to go. And I just realized at the time, I was like, wow, not only did I realize I had a gift in decorating, but I also realized that I really enjoyed it. Like it brought me true joy just going through the process. And so for me, that was kind of my opportunity to explore my passions and the things that I liked and the parts of decorating and interior design that I liked and didn't like. I didn't really like getting very handy in the construction part. Like we remodeled the bathroom and I really wanted no parts. Like I just gave the installer kind of my vision. This was the tile. I did pick out the tile, went to like a wholesale tile place and picked out the tile for the floor and the backsplash and all that good stuff. But like once I did the decorating and picked out the materials, I was like, okay, you can have the labor part. And so for me, that was an opportunity to really understand like what part of interior design and decorating I liked and I didn't like. And honestly, that's what led me to deciding to become an interior decorator instead of an interior designer because I really didn't enjoy the construction part of design. And so that was just me. But I went on this journey of like exploring and I realized I really loved interior decorating. Right. And so I want to encourage you during this step to really think about what are the things that you like and what are your gifts. Right. And your gift is something that you do effortlessly. Right. With very little effort. You do it very, very well, but you do it with the least amount of effort. And it's usually something that comes naturally. And a lot of times people don't even realize they have a gift or a particular gift because it comes so naturally. So I want you to think about what are the things you're good at that you enjoy doing. And also, I encourage you to ask some of your friends and your family members, like, what am I good at? What are the things that you've seen that I've done a great job at or that I'm skilled in that, is something that you might be able to start a business around. So that's kind of how I explored my interest. And once I discovered what my gift was, interior decorating, and what I wanted to do, it was kind of like, okay, let's start exploring this and seeing what we can do with this. So that's the second step is exploring your passions and interests. Now, the third step is all about identifying your core values and beliefs. Now, this one was really interesting for me because I remember working in my job and getting to the point where I felt like I no longer belonged in my job, right? And let me kind of break that down and what that means. You know, I worked in advertising, and my position and responsibility in my role was to help basically launch new pharmaceutical products and bring it to market. And so I worked on the business development team as one of the marketing, my title was digital marketing director. And at the time, and I remember, we would get these new potential clients and these new projects, and we get them within, a couple of days, and we probably get a binder like this thick of, all of the information about the drug, the side effects, all of the, the good things, the bad things, all the info. And we usually have about 24 to 48 hours to download all that information, really master it, understand it, and then be able to come up or start thinking about a marketing plan to bring this product to market. And so we would do that, and then we would take it, build a presentation, and then we would take it to the client and present to the client how we were going to bring the product to market. Right. So, all the stuff, marketing, from digital to traditional, all the stuff. Right. And I remember sitting in a meeting while we were planning for a pitch and us going over like the side effects of the drug. And the side effects were worse than the benefits. And I just immediately got this ill like feeling like this isn't right. Like, you know, and the whole kind of goal was to really try to spin, the side effects and really focus on the positive because that's what's going to sell. And I just did not feel good about that. And it started to really eat at my core values. And I realized that, man, while I loved my job and while I loved what I was doing and I did it very well, I just didn't want to be a part of that anymore. I didn't want to be a part of marketing a product that I knew was just probably not good for the consumer. And while it may help, I just felt like I didn't want to um, contribute to, making these big pharma companies billions and billions of dollars when I could be doing something more meaningful. And so I'm just going to leave that there. But I felt this tug and I started to it really prompted me to start to think about, like, what are my core values? What are the things that I feel drawn to? What are the things I feel that I'm not drawn to? And how are those things rooted in my belief systems? And so as I started to unpack some of that, I was like, man, I really am creative and I really want to do things that really help other people. And I want to be able to use my natural gifts and skill sets. And so, one of the things I was really good at that I uncovered in my job was speaking and presenting. So, whenever we would have a pitch, like I was always the person who was going to be presenting the digital marketing portion of the presentation. And so, I really focused on that. And so I said, okay, how can I turn this into a business or do something with this and leave my job so that I can do something that's more meaningful and fulfilling. And so it's important to explore these things. So I want you to, I encourage you to really think about what your core values are. What are the things that, you know, as you were raised that you believe in, and what are some of the things that maybe you don't feel good about or that you're against? And how can you intertwine that or weave that into your purpose and what it is that you want to do? So that's step 3, identifying your core values and your beliefs so that you can truly get clear on what it is that you want to do and what do you want for your life. Okay. All right. So, step number 4 in discovering what you want and who you want to become is setting meaningful goals and intentions. So, if you've done step 1 through 3, you should be really clear on like what your gifts are, what it is that you have an idea of what you want to do for maybe a business or just in life, right? And what do you want for your life? Because that's what we're talking about. And so once you're clear on those things, now it's time to put all of that knowledge and that discovery into action. And what that looks like is saying, okay, I've identified what I want for my life. Maybe, I want to live in, Alaska and I want to, become a photographer. And let's just say I want to, go to a restaurant, go out to eat once a month and go to a concert once a month, right? So let's just say these are the things that you want. Now it's time to work towards getting those things, right? So maybe you don't live in Alaska. So now it's setting goals of how can I get to Alaska? What do I need to do, right? And so anytime you're setting goals, you're just setting small baby steps of things that you need to do or take action on so that you can get to the goal. Okay. And so this is important because the beauty of this, of what you're really essentially doing, is you're creating your life. You're creating the life that you want based on what you've said you want for your life. Because here's the thing, nobody's going to live your life but you, right? So it better be what you want and not what someone else wants. But nobody knows what you want but you. And until you take the time to do step 1, which is in step 2, right? Understanding, self-discovery and go through that self-discovery process and then figuring out what are your passions, what are your gifts, what are your interests, right? And how can you bring those things together if you want, and if obviously if you want to start a business, how do you, figure out what it is that you want to do and bring that full circle? And the way that you do that is through setting some meaningful goals and then starting to work towards them. So, as you're working towards these goals and you're getting closer to the things that you want for yourself and for your life, you'll start to see that you are getting closer to creating the life that you truly want and deserve. And it's such a beautiful thing. And what I love about this journey is, you know, you can want one thing one day And you might change your mind, right? Things may adjust, or, you may change your mind on what some of the things that you've identified that you want. And that's okay. Right. And so that leads us to our next and final step, which is step 5, which is all about embracing growth and change. And let me just tell you, I think this is one of the most educational phases of your journey to self discovery, because as you are discovering what you want and working towards those things, you're going to hit some speed bumps, right? There's going to be some distractions that comes your way. There's going to be some speed bumps. There's going to be some hills you have to climb. I can tell you the last uh, 1 to 2 years have been something I've never imagined, right? It has forced me to reevaluate what I want for my life. It has given me some really challenging times that have made me stronger and have taught me so many essential lessons that I believe are essential to my future and continuing to create and maintain the lifestyle that I want. And so embracing the growth, and the key word is embracing, meaning not to fight it, not to complain about it when something goes wrong in your business, or, things aren't going your way, or what we call, or what we say now, life just starts lifing, right? You still have to embrace it, because I truly believe that everything that happens to us happens for us, and that there's always a lesson in the struggle, right? So no matter what happens, there's a reason for it. It's our job, however, to understand and embrace it and understand what that reason is, and then learn from it, right? And grow from it, right? So remember, this is going to be an ever evolving process in discovering who you are and what you want for your life, and essentially who you want to become. But these are the steps that you want to take to go through this process in a very healthy way, in a stress-free way. And this is going to allow you to really own and be responsible for your life, right? And for the things that you want. And this is a great process to go through, especially if you're an emerging entrepreneur, if you're an interior designer or emerging designer, or just, an entrepreneur looking to start a business in any field, right? The first thing you have to get clear on is, what do you want, right? What do you want? What type of business do you want? What type of life do you want? Where do you want to live? What are the things you want to do? Who are the people that you want in your life, right? Sometimes we have to let some people go so that you can move forward, right? So, all those things are so important to discover on your journey to entrepreneurship. And I hope that these steps help you to really think through what you want for yourself, and, help using these steps to help you get to your goals and help you accomplish and get to where you want to be. So I hope this has been helpful. I am so excited because this is the first of many podcasts. And, if you are thinking about starting a business, or maybe you've already started the process of, transitioning from your 9 to 5, or maybe you're looking to stay in your 9 to 5, I am that coach that always recommends that you, you know, do what you can, use your resources wisely, and leverage your job while you're building your dream life and your dream business. And so, regardless of if you're working your job or you've transitioned already, the Employee to CEO podcast is going to be a resource for you so that you can really thrive through your process of emerging into entrepreneurship. And so I'm so excited to share some of the lessons that I've learned in entrepreneurship, and helping you, go along in your journey in a healthy, passionate, stress free, and responsible way. So I encourage you, and I want to invite you to visit moniquenicole.co. That's my website. And actually, there's a A really great resource there, if you go to the website, is called the Employee to CEO Transition Plan. And it's for those of you who are looking to transition from your 9 to 5. And it really helps you to start thinking about what are the things you need to start doing to prepare yourself for entrepreneurship. And so I hope that that blesses you. Feel free to go to my website at moniquenicole.co. You can download it for free and enjoy that as you're preparing for your journey into entrepreneurship. All right, so that concludes our first episode of the Employee to CEO podcast. I can't wait to see you. I will be dropping a new episode every single week. So you can go to my YouTube channel, Monique Nicole Co. And check out each episode. Every Thursday, I'll be dropping a new episode, and you can enjoy that and learn something that hopefully will help catapult you into entrepreneurship as you go through your journey. So, have a wonderful week, and I will see you next week.